ti te gustan original y yo no tengo dinero para comprar ese original, yo no tengo dinero, tú quieres un dulce, un chocolate, un jugo, una fruta, ok, pero esos son...
¿Qué la que hay, mi gente? Rico.toro. Yeah. So, thank you very much for the usual regular friends of the channel, subscribers. Thank you from all my heart. Staying loyal, staying tuned in. Thank you very much. So, to the many people watching this right now, or few people that are not subscribed, hit that subscribe, hit that bell, hit that thumbs up right now, because you might be seeing or learning or something. So, Rico Toro is about those real life experiences, personal observations, coming to you from the mindset, from the personal experiences on the ground, an expat living in the Dominican Republic in a beautiful coastal town of Sosua on the north coast, a touristy town close to a lot of neighboring areas, local communities, amongst the people. So, hit that subscribe if you're new. You're going to learn something, might be entertained. It's not all about glittery lights and fancy production and background. It's about knowledge, information, and experiences. That's what it's about. So for the overly critical, nerdy dudes out there, I hope you're rich. There's no point in being nerdy if you're not rich. Because there's plenty of people that are not so nerdy that are just freaking damn cool that are rich. So if you're nerdy, hope you're rich. So anyways, shout out to you. So, a few things going on, you know. So where do I begin? All right. Shout out to Hollywood from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Shout out to Hollywood. You know, had me drinking beer the other day, which I don't really drink beer like that. Just trying to prove a point to him for busting my chops that, you know what, while I don't remember everybody that shared, he got some good stories, but, you know, I don't remember everybody that I meet always right away because of the vision strain and whatever. If I don't see you multiple times and you tend to get lost chasing street rats while we're having a conversation, I might not remember you, you know, but if you approach me, you want to have a conversation with me, have a conversation with me. But if you get sidetracked into some debauchery on the street or whatever for a while, I understand it. I got no problem with that. Just don't expect me to remember you when that happens. Anyways, so also, shout out to Reggie and Jimmy from South Carolina. Brothers on their first trip. Ran into them on the beach. I was like at 147 on the beach. Took a stroll down by Fast Freddy's and Bo Rake Cigar Lounge on the beach. Ran into them there. And, you know, we chopped it up a little bit. So, shout out to them. I appreciate the drink. Hope you had a wonderful first trip. So, you know, part of these things, you know, come with some lessons to be learned and experiences and everything. So, you know, my general consensus is everybody overspends, overpays their first trip, maybe second trip, you know, a little bit for everything. Taxis, company with the ladies, dare I say, chairs on the beach. All that stuff. So, it happens. So my only thing to recap some of those trips is very simple. If you did not get arrested and go to jail, if you did not get stabbed, if you did not get robbed at gunpoint or knife point, and otherwise had a really good time, you had a great trip. Everything else, you know, the antics, the shenanigans, the semantics in between, you learned something, you had a great trip. So, you know, right off the gate, part of that, I'll say this, you know. Do your research before coming to Sosua. And anywhere in the world outside of your normal living community, living country, state, etc. I'm not talking about TripAdvisor. I'm not talking about TripAdvisor alone. I got nothing against them. However, there's so much nitty gritty between the lines and, you know, all that stuff that you won't see on a site like TripAdvisor. You know, you might have to join a chat group. You might have to be a little more creative in your searches. I'm not the research analyst. You know, I'm not going to tell you about like all the underground sites and different things or whatever. You just have to, I don't know, there's plenty of videos on YouTube. Whether you watch me, this is my thing. Whether you watch me or whether you watch several other vloggers in the Dominican Republic area, if you learn something that saves your ass, saves you money, keeps you out of trouble, enhances your experience, and that enables you to have a great vacation, that's all that matters, regardless of who you learned it from. That's all I'm saying. Trying to rehydrate a little bit. So, if you watch the previous video, you'll understand one of the clips to follow. Or maybe I'll put it before this one, I don't know. But, you know, working on the shades game, it's nothing special. I've said it 100 times. It's just finding ones that I do need to shave, but I didn't want to wait till to shave tomorrow to do the video. It's about just finding the right ones that look kind of cool or whatever. It's not about the name, not about the price. You know, I've told before, people have asked me, where am I getting these shades? And I tell them, from the Chinese store, from the Chino. You know, from the Chino store, 200 to 300 pesos Dominican. Do your own math, figure out the cost. $6. So, less actually. So, one of my things is collecting shades. So, also one of my things is gratitude and appreciation. So, I'm putting out the gratitude and the appreciation to the young ladies that I deal with regularly. A handful, we'll say 4, 5, that I've known for a while. And recently, when we're making plans to see each other, I say, you have to bring me a gift. Surprisingly, they're quite compliant. They're like, well, what do you want? I'm like, so I send them a picture of the shades I already have. Granted, in the picture, in the clip you will see, it's like 3 pair that were gifts so far, and the rest were ones I already had. So I'm not going to claim they were all gifts. But they're quite compliant. You know, in the one clip, it's kind of funny because basically if you don't understand Spanish, she's saying, I don't have the money for like original Gucci's or, you know, all those brand names or whatever that you got on the table. But if you want some chocolates or something sweet, I'll gladly bring you that. And I laughed. I said, all right, whatever. Look, there's nothing special. 200-300 pesos from the Chinese store. But anything from the heart, just the gesture is appreciated. That they're not thinking about just themselves, but maybe somebody else for a little bit of time and appreciative of the situation. Because, you know, they're coming to see me. They're leaving sometimes with a lot greater gain from me then they're bringing to me and like, a gift. These, by the way, God bless her. Thank you very much. Gracias a Dios por el dulce. I can't pronounce her name. It's too long to type out. She just saved in my phone as dulce, which means sweet. And she was eager. She bought she's in a neighboring area, ways out, and she hit me up. Either I'm like, she's got her days confused, or she's just eager to shop for rico.toro. So she hit me up the day before I was expecting to see her. And like, I'm, getting in the shower, blah, 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 blah. I'm about to go shopping for the shades, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, all right. So she got them in her area, I'm guessing. Because I saw her the next day, and they were wrapped in their own unique wrapping, much different than the little plastic bag that they give the chino that I got the others. So, man, now I feel obligated to see her a time or two, even though, other things felt kind of whack and disappointing the last time. Anyways, that's how it goes. But she showed appreciation for what I bring by bringing the shades. So, like I say, the gifts, I'm not going to do this much more. So, interesting time the other night, hanging out with a fellow YouTuber, TMI Santiago. Shout out to him. Just went to Santiago today. He learned a little bit about how I move here and my routines and things, because I'm working by day. I have my sobriety days that I don't go out and party. I stay home. I just on my regimen, the gym, business, personal business. Step out for a quiet dinner, away from the strip, away from the scenery. He gets that now. So we're hanging out Friday, and the British kid, the young lion that I mentioned in the previous video. So we're hanging out at NYC Drinks, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have an authentic, just do the Dominican thing, not the tourist bar thing. So we're in there. He comes in, and it's loud. I don't even want to say the word middle-aged men, because if you watching this and you're like, is this guy too old to be living the way he lives or doing what he does or this or that? You have the Matrix mindset. You're a pendejo. You're an asshole. You're stupid. It's like those are judgmental terms and limits that in America they put on people. That's not, but you travel outside of that, there's an open world out there. I'm as young as the women I feel, which are like 22 to a little bit older. So, get off that high horse, that self-righteous BS, and listen. So we go in there. The music is pumping. It's loud. It's banging. I love it because you can hear bachata, merengue, reggaeton, places like Rumba, Envy, Bailey's, many places. But it's not quite the same, the bass, the rhythm, the noise, as it is in a local Dominican establishment. So we're just in there vibing, I think. I'm chilling. I don't need to talk. I don't need to hear myself talk. And at one point, we see these girls, this table of girls, they're sort of like really into singing the words, partying, feeling themselves, whatever. I get up and dance with an ugly girl because she was there. So I know that like TMI's wheels were spinning a little bit. So like, this would be interesting. He's trying to ask me, are you feeling what they feel from this music, from this experience? He's like, we'll talk outside. And so this would be interesting. On one hand, I'm like, at the moment, and even the next day when I woke up, I'm like, this guy is like way too concerned about what others are thinking, what others are doing, or whether or not he agrees with what others find interesting or fun. Way too concerned about that. But on the other hand, the British kid brought up a good point later. Like, at least he's thinking. He's inquisitive. He's asking questions, etc. So, his thing, which it's a valid point, goes back to, some guys just want to learn bachata. They just want to learn Spanish. They just want to learn certain things because they think it's going to get them the unicorn or the much different special lady or whatever. It all comes back to women. And my thought was like, all that's an afterthought. I'm just enjoying myself. I just like immersing myself in the culture, learning the different things and language and how to dance and move among the people, whatever, because I enjoy it. It amuses me. It's fun. The women are an afterthought. They'll always be there, is how I see it. I don't go out looking for women per se. They're there. I could call. So it was an interesting perspective. I get it, because some guys are thinking that that's going to help them find their queen bee, the one. So I appreciate people that make me think a little bit sometimes, even if we disagree, so just respectfully disagreeing sometimes and etc. But I do think there is a certain thing that, maybe him and some others, a problem that they have. I think I'm wearing the Yankees cap, royal blue, because it's good fashion. Yankees caps are just good fashion. That's it. I'm not a baseball fan. Even though I did spend 12 years in Newark, New Jersey, and working in New York. So I do, if you're a sports fan at all, you do tend to get caught up in the Yankees a little bit while you're up there, even if you're not a baseball fan. So there is a little bit of like respect for the Yankees or whatever. And shout out to the Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, as well as the DMV, as always. So my thing is like, I cringe when like you get like somebody that just they go so hard, like you're living here, pretty girls and palm trees, and then you're like splitting hairs over like, should I buy a Presidente Jumbo at this cold model for like 160 pesos, or should I buy one at this cold model, which looks like a better, cooler place to chill, for 170 pesos? I'm just ballparking. I don't know exactly what things cost. I just know I go where I like to go. Some places I go, my drinks are a little lower. Some places a little higher. It's good to know higher, lower. But I'm like, you're splitting hairs over that. And then you're talking about like, you're from this neighborhood or that neighborhood or whatever, New York. But you've been here 18 months. It's like, leave all that behind. It's one thing to real simply say you meet somebody new. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Queens. You could even go as far as saying, I'm from Southern Boulevard. I'm from Belmont, the Bronx. I'm from, money earning Mount Vernon. I'm from Bushwick, Brooklyn. I'm from, 138th and Alexander, South Bronx. Shout out to my ex-mother-in-law, by the way, since I thought of that. You could say Southside Jamaican Queens. You could say it. There's nothing wrong with that, being proud of where you're from. But I'm just saying, some dudes, they don't know when to let up with that. And then they're always, I watch them when they deal with the locals. Because they don't understand, like the locals, Dominicans, they don't understand sarcasm, one. They don't know when you're just like being aggressive, joking, friendly, even if you're speaking Spanish. They don't know when you're just, having fun, talking trash. They don't know that sometimes. So my point is like, if you find yourself apologizing or having to dial it back or explain too many times you're joking, you need to remember this simple line. It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. Not where you're from, it's where you're at. Chicka, chicka, chicka. Not where you're from, it's where you're at. Beneo, esto lo que hay, mama, yeah. It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. So, adapt accordingly. So, shout out to them. So, I'm going to tell you a little something. Guys, and this ties into something TMI said before too. Stop paying for these tour guides and stuff. Stop paying for that. Like, some guys were fairly new recently. They asked me, what's too much to pay? And they told me what they paid for some overnight company. And I was like, well, doesn't sound good, the figures they told me. But I'm listening. And then they said, and the numbers kept going up. They had a taxi or a guy with some contacts, making the introductions, blah, blah. I said, look, no offense, but they saw you as a rookie. They saw you as lazy and figured you would pay for convenience. That's the operative word, convenience. Pay for convenience. Lazy. New. That's all I'm saying. Enough said on that. A friend of mine in Cabaret told me the story about a couple guys. This is on like their fourth trip. They've been here 4 times and they're like still using a tour guide or something. He said he had to just walk away from this restaurant table, like, because these guys were like clearly getting hosed. It's one, if you got it or whatever, your first trip or whatever, you take the loss, you take the L, your first trip or whatever. But by your 4th trip, you should know. You don't got to be like this dude's eating freaking like shrimp and lobster, eating well, drinking well, taking them all over for a week. And like I say, they're jolly, happy, go lucky. It's one thing if it's your first trip, but if it's like your 4th trip, you should know better by now. Even if you got it like that. I'm not counting your money. I'm just saying you should know better. And then you get mad when a chick asks for a 500 peso or 1,000 peso propina when you just showed how dumb you were with the taxi and other situations. It all adds up. They're studying you. Learn this. So I'm not going to say no more on that. Most of the people that watch Rico.toro, thumbs up by now if you haven't already, damn it. Hit that subscribe, new people. If you're still watching, man, all this is love. All this is to learn. Help the people. Cheque la gente, mira la gente, ayuda la gente. Just help the people, do the people, see the people, yeah. So, I'm not going to say more on that. Decent crowd of ladies, Sometimes you got to know when to draw the line. So, my close cousin of mine, I'll say Sergio, was visiting this past weekend. And Sergio, he dealt with somebody like last week. He was real drunk. And things ended out all right. Settled things with a certain number. He got some extras that he negotiated, kind of against what I would advise. He was kind of going dirty. So he told me he saw her again last night, and said, things were much different. And when it come time to settle the bill, she wanted more than the previous week or whatever, even though they didn't do the things they did the week before. Like, interestingly. So he complied, you pay some to go, all to go. Complied, sent her his way, no problems. A couple hours later, he answered the bell when she called again and said, look, well, she was like, I want to come stay tonight with you. He says, you can come stay, but these are the terms. And, he's my cousin, I know the terms. So Sergio was like, I already donated this amount. So, you should have just stayed while you were here, but I donated this amount already. So this is all it's going to be if you come and stay the rest. She's like, okay, or whatever, we'll talk when I get there. So, he tells me this morning at breakfast, he's like, she comes, and, he made it clear. Usually I'd say don't let her come to begin with and say, oh, we'll talk when I get there, because it's usually some bullshit. So she comes and he's like, after a little bit, I like it how I like it, but this is going to be the take. And she's like, no, doble. Wants a little more, if that's going to happen. And he's like, okay. Negative, mommy. Negative. No. Sergio speaks fluent Spanish, by the way. He's like, okay, go. Va tu casa, va tu hotel, just vámonos loca. So she goes with nothing more than from earlier. So sometimes you gotta toe the line. That's what he said. He's like, look, I'm only here so much more. And if I would have complied, I would have had to go to the ATM in the morning. But since I toed the line, I got another day or two I could stage off, probably if I take a break in between, before going to the bank. And if you're on a short time, I get it. You're like, live in the moment. I'm on vacation. Just, only live once. All that. But the principle involved is that sometimes you just got to shut it down. Just say no, rico.